So what is arrow spine? How does it affect your shot? And is it important? Can you just buy any arrow from anywhere off eBay and shoot it through your bow? Okay, so today we're going to discuss arrow spine. So what is arrow spine? Well, firstly, arrow spine is the stiffness of your shaft, how much it bends in thousandths of an inch as it comes out of your bow. All arrows have to bend. Now, how much that bends is what's called your spine. Spine is determined by putting your arrow over a span of 28 inches and hanging a 2-pound weight from the center. So it will bend down. When it bends down, how much that bend is in thousandths of an inch, that is what your spine is. So this one is a 340 arrow, which means that it bends 340 thousandths of an inch. If you get a 500 spine, it bends 500 thousandths of an inch, or half an inch. If you get a 300 spine, it only bends 300 thousandths of an inch. Obviously, a 250 spine bends 250 thousandths of an inch. So the smaller that number, the stiffer that shaft is. That number has nothing to do with the weight of the arrow. So if your arrow is a 300 spine, you can have another 300 spine which weighs 50 grains more. So the GPI, or grains per inch, is what tells you the weight of the arrow, not that the spine number. This arrow spine is absolutely critical for your arrows to be accurate. If it's too weak, it's going to go off to the right. If it's too stiff, it's going to go off to the left. If it's too weak, particularly, it's going to be very inconsistent. The archery is all about consistency, so you don't want an arrow that's going to be inconsistent. Your spine is also determined by the length of your shaft as well. So it starts off as 340, but if you keep cutting that shaft down, that's obviously going to get stiffer and stiffer and stiffer the more you cut it down. If you want to use a 200 grain head, or a 250 grain head, or a 300 grain head, the heavier that head gets, the more that arrow is going to bend coming out of the bow. You got to remember, you've got a force pushing on the back of that arrow. Now, if you've got a heavy head there, that's going to resist that force pushing on the arrow, which means it's going to bend a lot more. Now, you could stiffen it up then by cutting an inch or two off and getting that stiffness back up. And that's all part of your tuning of your bow. When you tune your arrows, get them to the exact right spine that you need. If you change your head, then it's no longer the right spine. If you use a certain arrow out of a compound bow at a certain poundage, it's not necessarily going to be the right one for your recurve bow. So if you're shooting a 50-pound compound bow and you also have a 50-pound recurve bow, they're not going to be the same spine arrow that you need. Why is that? Well, the reason for that is because the compound bow, the cams give that string a lot more leverage and pushes a lot more power into the back of your arrow, which means it's going to bend more. A recurve bow or a longbow doesn't have that amount of power. Well, that's the same poundage, but there's no leverage to push on the back of it. So you would need a slightly weaker arrow for your for your recurve and your longbow compared to what you need for your compound bow. It's really critical to tune your bow correctly so and get the right spine. So you'll have to, for your spine that you need to get the spine charts for the bow, the arrow that you're using. So Easton have spine charts, Carbon Express have spine charts, Gold Tip have spine charts. They all have a spine chart. So if you go to eBay and you're buying a Chinese arrow that has nothing written on the side of it, you have no way of knowing what spine that is. Some of them say, oh, it's good for bows from 5 pounds to 80 pounds. Well, that obviously just can't be correct. You can't have a 5-pound bow pushing on the back of your arrow the same speed or pressure as what an 80-pound bow does. So the 5-pound one isn't going to work and the 80-pound one isn't going to work. Don't believe that sort of thing. That is extremely unsafe and will cause your arrows to be very inconsistent. So look at your spine charts. Find out what poundage it is that you're shooting, not just the poundage of the bow, but what poundage you're actually shooting, because that will make a difference to the spine. To get it weighed, go to an archery shop, weigh the bow and find out. Then find out what arrow length you're going to need and the head weight you're going to be using. And from that, you'll be able to determine the exact spine that you need and you'll shoot more accurately. You'll enjoy your sport a lot more and you'll last in it a lot longer. So that's it for today. Remember, if you like this video, hit the subscribe and the like button down below, and that'll help us to produce more videos, and we'll keep on going, trying to give you as much information as possible. Thanks for that.